episode 5 of the Zen Den. Welcome. Thank you for joining me this beautiful evening. Let's see who's clicking in here. Joshua Flynn, very talented photographer. He's actually shot the photo for my last CD, Fly Away, and the new upcoming CD, which is yet to be titled. I have to come up with the title very fast because they need the graphics soon. So good to see you, Joshua. Thanks for clicking in. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Jason, once again, we meet. Must be time to visit the Zen Den. Greetings from Vancouver, BC. All right. And Linda, you had messaged me on Facebook. Good to see you here. All right. You've been looking forward to this. Me too. I really have too. And Jacob, welcome, my friend. Good evening to you, sir. Hope things are doing well down at in Southern California. I'm looking forward to returning to Spaghettini's in Seal Beach. So hopefully, Jacob, you let me know when they open the doors for live performance. I want to be one of the first people to hop in there. I love that logo, Rich. That's the Tom. Is that the? No, it's not Tom Scott. What is that? I recognize that logo. It is the Tom Scott thing. Denton, Texas. Where my nephew Sam is attending North Texas State University. Very cool. My wife was just on Zillow or some other website like that, looking at property values in Houston. I think where our jaws were dropping. Like, you can get what for what? That's amazing. You guys are living large out there. Hey, Carrie, welcome. And Jason. Hey, Jason. Carrie says hello. I'm the intermittent messenger. All right, Doug. Welcome. I'm just gonna click through. You guys are clicking in faster than I can click. Hey, Caesar. All right. Well, you're gonna hear some stuff. A lot of saxophone thoughts tonight. Saxophone specific and saxophone adjacent thoughts. As my special guest this evening, I'm very excited to announce. I'll tell you about him, all more about him after I play a song. Because if I think about him before, I'll mess up my own playing and be very intimidated. And Fernando, Brazil, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. Hi, Jay. Oh, Lake Charles, Louisiana. I love Lake Charles. I've did a jazz festival, the Gulf Shrimp and Jazz Festival a few years back. Had a wonderful time and had unbelievable food. Like they serve you the gumbo, and they oh, I got a paper towel roll over there. They serve you the gumbo and they plop down a paper towel roll. It's like it's good gumbo if you get through that whole roll of paper towels. Oh, and we Linda concurs that cover was a great shot, Joshua. Nice work. Joshua is such a talented guy. He's got a good eye, and I could put him inside. I could have him shoot me inside of a white room with no pictures, no nothing, and it would be interesting. He would make it interesting. Yeah. All right. Hey, look who it is. Don from Fremont, California. Don, or is it Dewan? I apologize if I butchered your name. And Mr. Michael Leeds, fine Seattle guitarist. Do I know feelings? Do I know feelings? If I had my keyboard hooked up, I'd sing to you right now. Thanks for clicking in, Michael. Hey, Peter. Jersey Shore. Very, what is that? Is that an Olympic medal around your neck? That's impressive. Very impressive. Hey, Bobby. Bobby shot the Zen Den photo that you've all been looking at for this event, so I appreciate his fine work. Yeah. Always a pleasure to see his work. He pops up a lot on Facebook, so you should follow him. He's following a lot of artists, not just smooth jazz, but blues artists, all different soul artists, all different kinds of artists, and he always gets a good perspective on them. Real nice work. Snoqualmie, oh my goodness, Snowson. Yeah, I heard. I looked on the thing. Well, our special guest is in snow now, but Edmonds might get a little snow on Wednesday. So The special guest to be named. Hey, you're having a good time, Carrie. That's important. That's what's important. Hey, Jesse, you're back. Ah, Steve will join in. I saw you've. You already know because we put the announcement up. But in moments from now, Steve Cole uh, will be joining us, and he'll be telling us a lot about the saxophone, but mostly about home renovation. He's become during quarantine an expert at home renovation. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I've got proof. I've got pictures that you will see. And I don't know if Steve is for hire. Steve, he's you can't see him, but I can see him down in the other monitor. He's shaking his head with a hell no kind of swagger to it. No. Hey, okay, I played bass on that. Very nice. Wakana, welcome. Thanks for coming in from Japan. I heard she's got a new single out. Sounds wonderful. I believe Darren Ron, did he produce it? I'm not sure, but it's a really nice track, very beautifully produced and well played. So good for you. And Steve Brown from Houston is back. Steve, yeah, like I said, my wife's been looking at property values out there. We're intrigued. Intrigued. I'd like to buy a mini mansion out there. Knoxville, Tennessee. John Weber, welcome. We got so many people. It's really fun to watch the listenership and the viewership grow per week. It's been very exciting, and I can only thank you so much for clicking in. You've got about a million other things that could grab your attention on Facebook and YouTube and whatnot. So I'm certainly so grateful that you spend 3 seconds with me. I'm happy. Um, hey, Kathy, welcome. Oh, Peter says he's no Olympian. Okay. It was a participation medal. Yeah, that's right, Joshua. We got people from all around the world chiming in, uh, and it's a blast. It's really fun to see. I don't even know what time it is in these different places. I probably should figure that math out to see exactly when I'm appearing in these different places, so I know. Gosh, it's 3 in the morning some places, but all right. And Jazz Tracks in Catalina, you guys were awesome there. Thank you. That is one of those festivals, and um, Steve will concur that it's so beautiful once you're there, but getting there is a pain in the butt. And maybe that's what makes it special because once you're there, it's like, I'll stay put. I'll stay here. You know what I'm saying? Uh, anyway, but I do love it. And I mean, I'm just teasing. Needless to say, it's a wonderful festival and a very special festival for many reasons. But Bolivia, fantastic. That's wonderful. Welcome, Kevin. Hey, Michael. Snowy Connecticut. Yeah, I heard you guys got the nor'easter put upon you last week. Yes. Hi, Jordan. Ensenada, Mexico. Ensenada. I've got so many pleasant memories about Ensenada. I used to work on a cruise ship, and people would drive like 2 hours north from San Diego to catch the cruise ship that departed from San Pedro, California. And then we'd sail down to Ensenada, which is like just an hour south of where they are, and then sail all the way back. But we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. When you're young kids, it's a hard job. From the Philippines, welcome, Jun and Bill from Scenic City, Chattanooga. Thanks for this for the reference. I wasn't sure where that was. Haven't been there, I don't think. Hi, Lori. Welcome. Well, thank you all for coming by. Pleasure to see everyone. I had a couple quick requests, and I've been every week during my spare time between teaching classes and whatnot. I've got you can't see it here. I've got these cardboard boxes laid out of different kinds of media, 8 millimeter, high eight, DV digital tapes, just regular VHS tapes that I'm rummaging through, and I'm doing the long, ardent process of backing everything up, basically putting it on the computer. But while I'm doing it, I'm trying to grab these songs that a lot of you have requested from older recordings because they don't. Uh, we didn't always record songs on computers, right? We had them on tapes and ADAT tapes and whatnot. So I've been slowly pulling it off and relearning them. And I would like to play for you now. We had a request for an iwi song. So I thought I'd start off with an iwi song tonight, if that's okay. This is a song written by very fine guitarist Alan Hines, and you'll hear him a little bit on this track. And he basically wrote it. I realized I came on air without my neck strap. Hold on. Don't panic. Don't panic. Ugh. I need to get one of those glass devices that you can slide around on. Then I won't be struggling so much. But he wrote the song for the Another Door Open CD, which is back in, get this, 20 years ago, 2001. 20 years ago, my goodness. And that was before my memory of this and that time was it was my first album I did with a beautiful label called Native Language, run by Joe Sherbonnet, who was just a top-notch human being, was very pro artist and was always encouraging me to be creative and just push myself. You know, it's just the opposite of most labels are trying to. You should do more real super commercial stuff. He was just the opposite. Try this, try that. So, and that's a very rare thing, I know. So this is one of the songs that came from that. Not that it's so strange or anything like that, but it's just not the normal kind of thing. Gonna play the iwi on this, and let's see, written by Alan Hines. And what else can I say about this? Well, I hope you enjoy it. As I'm playing it, maybe I'll remember all the different musicians that played on it. Let me just test my sound first. I think we're ready. So here is something called Best of Times. All right. Best of times from the Another Door Open CD. It's all coming back to me now. Melvin Davis on the bass guitar, Will Kennedy on drums on that one, and of course Alan Hines on guitar. Well, very excited to bring on my special guest, who's a long time friend. I've lost track of the years that we've known each other, but um, we have been friends for a long time. And then I called him up one day and said, "Hey, would you like to start a group with me called the Sax Pack?" And I explained the concept. It would be kind of like how we are backstage, but bring it on stage and just joke around and have fun. And he said, "Who is this?" And he actually did say that as a joke. But we were friends back then. We're acquaintances back then. We became even closer friends from many years of traveling on the road. And matter of fact, I talked about the tapes earlier. I've got reams of DV tapes, said the Sax Pack, all these different cities we played in, and all the different stuff we did. So I will one by one create a documentary. It's going to take a while. But anyway, without any further ado, please help me welcome the one and only Mr. Steve Cole.
I'm sorry. Who are you?
Wait, I have to have applause. Wait, I'm going to bring in applause.
It sounds more like you're dropping a bunch of nails on plastic.
Steve,
what up, man?
How you doing? Good to see you.
I'm fantastic, dude.
I never saw you. I never thought of you as a hat person.
I never thought of me as a hat person, but I haven't gotten my hair cut since March. So it's kind of like, a bad hair day every day. So this is what we got. My hair grows kind of, left, right, and straight up. So,
it looks good. We got all these folks clapping. I hope you can feel the love.
Yeah, man. You remember how your hair was in the 80s?
It was fabulous. Yes, next question. I've got video of that. It's kind of embarrassing. It's a little achy breaky.
No, dude. It was really, really great.
You're mean. Well, we have our first person that loves the Sax Pack. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's great. Whatever happened to them?
I've done some research and I'm sorry. I'll talk to you about that later. Hey, Steve, so excited you're here with Jeff tonight.
Yeah, me too. Hi, Linda. What's going
on? I did some research and, forensic research of all these tapes. And it looks like 2004, I was recording an album called Peace of Mind, on which the bonus track was what would be the Sax Pack.
Right.
We weren't the Sax Pack yet. Why? Because we were touring, though. We were touring that year. But we didn't record together because we were all on 3 different labels, right?
Yep.
And labels don't usually like to play with each other. And right?
Yep. Yep. That's kind of a thing.
And we had to get them to negotiate and do it. But here we are, fast forwarding the years. You are a doctorate. You have a doctorate.
I do.
You,
Yes.
and you teach at Thomas University in Minneapolis.
I teach at the University of St. Thomas in
Oh,
Minneapolis. Yeah.
sorry. And tell us a little bit about that side, which no one knows about. That we all know you as the superstar, awesome tenor saxophone player. Cool. And I know you as the knucklehead that you are. But
Yes.
people don't know that other side. So please tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, I've been in higher education for a long time because and I'll tell you how it happened. About 10 years ago. No, it's more than that. Gosh, it's like maybe 15 years ago. So I made a couple of records with Atlantic Records, and I was on Warner Brothers, and then I got dropped from Warner Brothers, and I'm like, okay, that was fun.
What?
I should figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up, right? And I had a bunch of education, and experience, and I put them all together and kind of fell into higher education because I had been doing some how you get asked to speak at colleges and universities when you're on tour and talk about the music industry, talk about what it's like to run a career in music, and I really enjoyed it. And then I was approached by some people at a college in Chicago, Columbia College, and asked to apply for a assistant professorship at that college in music industry. I'm like, yeah, I know, that's something I could do. Long story short, that was 15 years ago. And now the funny thing is, because I thought that was just going to be my career, because I got dropped from my label, and that was going to be that. But then I accepted this job. It's like a professor. I'm like Professor Steve, and then I got signed again to EMI. So so yeah, I never really quite got that that break.
But I know you well enough to speak for you here, in that education, academia is not the fallback position. Oh, I'm doing this because no, it's a equal passion to performance, and it's
Absolutely.
maybe it's correct to say it's a different kind of performance.
Yeah, it's I never thought I would enjoy anything as much as I enjoy performing, and I got to say, teaching is it is incredibly fulfilling. All the things that we love about performing, it's the creativity, it's the connection, feeling like you might be doing something to make someone's day a little bit better, with what you're doing, and teaching's the same thing. And there's also the added bonus of incredible accountability. I mean, students keep you really honest. Because they can Google you wrong at any second, and two. They're paying a lot of money to go to college, and you realize the investment they're making, and the commitment they're making, and the trust that they're putting in you, and that is a really, really powerful motivator. To make sure you're delivering on the promise that you made to them. When you said, "Hey, come study here and come get this this degree in entrepreneurship and creative enterprise," and so it's really great. It keeps you and the other thing is, as you well know, because you're an educator yourself, being a musician and being an artist really enhances your abilities as an educator, and being an educator significantly enhances your abilities as a performer. So they work really, really well together.
They really do. They absolutely do. One feeds the other. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
With the disciplines of education, which is being organized, being linear in some thought process, being patient at times.
Sure. Yeah.
All of that I bring on the road. It's helped the road life.
Totally.
When I say road, I'm saying road in quotes, like when we used to play on the road.
Yeah, there are still roads, and we can still be on them.
Yeah.
But we can't actually get out of our car when we get there. We have to so we could be on the road. I've been on the road this whole time.
Yes,
I've been
right.
tracing. I've been going. My whole tour. I've been driving it, but I just haven't gotten out of the car. I'm just like, okay, that was cool. It was a great show in my
You're
mind.
literally on the road. Not
Yeah,
yeah.
just being on
And
the road.
okay, Kathy's shouting Dr. Cole, very
Yeah.
good. Oh, someone had, here we go, asked you about LA to New York. Now I know we don't have that track prepared, but that is the first time. Actually, that's the first album that I heard of yours. I I study players, Steve. I study
Really?
players whom I admire, and that was one of them I studied. It's a really good album. And
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I mean, what did you learn?
you know what it is about you, and if my teacher, who I've mentioned many times before, Leo Potts, ever chimes in, he will concur.
Mm,
It's all about each note, but more than that, it's about each note is like each person. Each person deserves your attention and care.
mm.
Each day of your life. It's like a lot of analogies here, but it's the way you approach a note and the way you leave a note. I'm not being facetious. It's excellent.
Thank you, man. I only know. I only know. I see. There are 12 notes. I only know 8.
You got
So
time. You
I've
got
got to
time.
make up for it
You got
by just going a little bit further and making those 8 notes just that much more.
That's all you need, man. Pentatonic scale has 5 notes, so you got three
Well,
notes.
see, and who
Girl,
needs those? Who needs
girl,
those other ones anyway?
I know. I've seen the sax back several, many
A
times
couple few mini several time, yeah.
with a funny face and a martini glass. Huh? What are you implying?
Hmm.
Hope to see you out there on the road again one day. Absolutely, Carol. We will be out. We'll be out again. Good to see you. Let's see. Oh, now we have a request. Our first request. We used to play. What was that center called? We used to play in Connecticut. Lineman Center.
Yeah, that's a big place. That's great. I like that place. Sounds great too.
Lyman Center. Oh, he actually told me. I was trying to figure out in my head. Thank you, Richard. We hope to be back. I mean, we're just going to say yes to everything at this point. So this is a subject. Here we go. Now, Betty, you're asking the perfect question. Any future play dates together? Yes. I just got off the phone with our mutual booking agent, Steve Butler, who says we got nothing. Who says well, we have a date at the place called the Soiled Dove in Denver, which is a lovely place to play, and we're kicking the can down the road. Oh, this is saving me a phone call, Steve. I'm
Oh,
to
good.
tell,
Yeah.
I'm,
So wait.
I'm to tell you, Steve called, said we got nothing, and number two, no, we're gonna play Soiled Dove. We're just kicking it down the road a little bit, a couple of
Yeah,
days.
kick it, man.
That's it's almost like the I can't even feign disappointment these days. It's like, yeah, of course you are. Okay, fine. With all the dates, they're just getting pushed down, pushed down.
Yeah, man, they'll be there.
Yeah, and I'm half joking, but I want to tell people who are viewing now, please have faith. You know the story, you know what's going on. We're only going to make sure that everyone's safe. We will return absolutely positively, and until then, we're just going to play our little bedroom concerts like this.
Who was it that had people in individual like balls, like big, like your own giant beach ball that you could fit in as a human,
It's
and
like
the whole show was just people in giant human-sized balls that you could see through, and it was
there's a
talk
soundbite.
about socially distanced. You're just in your little orb. Nothing is escaping, nothing's getting in. I don't know how you survive in there, but apparently someone's pulled this off.
I think we should try it.
Yeah, man. I mean,
My,
that'd be the ultimate, kind of bouncy house.
my first thought is Amazon.com, human-sized blow-up balls to perform in. Now, Danny wants to know, how about the sax back at Jazz Alley? And I say yes. We're saying yes to everything tonight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although you can only fit one person on the stage at Jazz Alley. So
No, actually, Jazz Alley has spent.
oh wait, Jazz Alley. I'm thinking about Blues Alley. Jazz Alley, the one in your backyard. Yeah, that one's awesome.
One with fantastic food. They've spent 110. All you Seattleites out there, I read an article. They spent $110,000 on making the place safer by putting up plexiglass, redoing the ventilation system.
Hmm.
So of course you can't hear the band now because the fans are too loud. But
Yeah. Well, the fans are always really loud, and that's good because then we know they love us.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
I had to get one in. Okay,
Good for you.
I have a new board with sound effects. Can you tell?
Yeah. It's like a vaudeville thing now.
Well, Steve,
What?
you have a new CD. You started it way after, like a year after I did, and you finished it like months before I'm going to finish mine. How did you do that? Tell us about your new project.
How did I do it? I worked on it.
Oh, okay. Like I got it.
um, no, it was I was really really fortunate because when we were all locked in our homes unceremoniously, um, I was thinking, okay, so what am I going to do? I've got I could do stuff, but I'd also like to do something with a saxophone, and how am I going to do that? And it was time for me to start a new project, and I thought to myself, you know what? It's never going to happen. My label's not going to, start a new record right now. Who knows what's going on? And so inevitably, I got a call from the A&R head of A&R at my label, who I deal with, and he said the opposite of what I thought he was going to say. He's like, "Hey, man, you got some time on your hands. Why don't you use it productively and make a record?" And I was like, "Holy crap! Yes, please." So that was back in like May, and so I got together with my partner in crime, David Mann. We've made records together now for like 20 years, and it was really great. We had a great time. We took our time, doing it. It was definitely different because none of us could be in the same room together. But it was also cool because there were some players that I never got to, that I haven't gotten to work with in a long time because they're always on the road, who weren't. And so, my good friend Todd Zuckerman, who plays drums with the band Styx, is able to be on the record. And
Wow.
yeah, it was Mark Egan is playing bass on the record, and on a couple of on one track in particular. Brian Dunn is playing drums, and Brian is always gone.
Yeah.
Some adventure. So it was great, man, and it was really nice to have that to know that that's on your plate. It's like whatever happens today, I know that this is something that I should be doing, and it was really purposeful and awesome, and I enjoyed it. And thank you, Mac Avenue, for letting me continue to make records.
Well, now they got my appetite, all already. Could you would you play a little something from the new CD?
Absolutely not. That's private.
Not what we agreed upon.
Yes, I will play for you, Jeff.
Just for me. I don't want anyone else
for
to hear
you.
it. Just
All right.
And then Daniel, I guess you could take me if we go to Steve. We should probably take me out of the shot because I want to give full 16 by 9 screen.
All right. I have to make adjustments.
Yes. So here's Steve. Oh. Very
Very
nice.
nice.
Sorry, wait for the echo.
Yeah, man.
But I'm saying it
You're,
twice as much.
you're,
Beautiful.
you're crazy. Your crazy little streaming system. You know.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Kathy said it best right here, soulful. That's it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I call him Steve Soul. I don't even say the C. It's all about Steve Soul. Dr. Soul now.
Doctor, yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, it goes without saying. This is not just like fluffy words. This is the deal. As a saxophone player, listening to a saxophone player, and I've heard you for many years, your tone is always perfect. Pitch, there's like not even a question.
Mostly okay.
not even a question about that, but it's the way you start a note and you finish the note. It's just so much finesse, and I love it.
Dude, thank you, man. You are my second favorite saxophone player
on the stream today. Yes.
Yeah. We're all second. I don't want to say favorite because then I would have to tell David Sanborn he's my second favorite saxophone player, and he'd be pissed. He actually wouldn't care, but I wouldn't feel right about it.
No, but thank you. That's very kind of you. But that's beautiful, and people are loving it. Can you feel the love?
I can feel the love coming through the interweb, man.
It's applauding. Five claps from Jason. Well done, says Betty.
Wow, thank you.
Kathy again. Yes,
it's scary. It's scary playing new music, man, because you don't know.
Oh gosh. Everything is new to me. I have such a short-term memory now. I'm getting old. Danny says, this is for Steve. Do you use a different last name during your sideman days, early 90s, or did you use?
I did. It was Smith because,
Really? I did remember, but then again, I could be mistaken. Nope. It's always been Cole. I do have my own Steve as a sideman story. When I first saw Steve, I did not meet him because they were literally, I'm not kidding, at the Theater of the Mind here. I was at the Capitol Jazz Fest, which is a huge, huge festival with the Rippingtons. We had just finished playing, and then we were about to play, and I went to see who was playing in this other stage, and it was sort of surrounded by trees. It was a stage, and what I remember is this. It was incredibly funky. It was Brian Culbertson on the keyboards, and next to him was this guy dressed all in black, standing in the sun, which was a bad choice of drenched. My first thought was, God, I hope that guy's going to be okay, because you were like completely like you jumped in a swimming pool.
Yeah, it was very hot.
And here's another
wardrobe issue.
Here's another thing that people don't know: you were playing alto and killing it.
Wow, thank you. Because you're like an alto guy, and so that's a huge compliment coming from you, man. Thank you. Man,
it was, and I didn't meet you, and I later found out that was Steve Cole. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
June 18th.
When will the CD be available? June. Steve gave me a pre-copy, which I'm selling tonight. No, I'm not. I'm not. Wakana from Japan says, awesome.
Oh man, thank you. I've heard a bunch of her music. She's awesome.
Yep, we like you.
We like you.
I think we should, yeah, we should do some jams, man. Great style, really sweet. Love from Brooklyn.
Oh man, thank you, Anne. Coming from Brooklyn, I want to take that one to the bank. Thank you.
Another heart emoji from Betty, and Steve Brown says, very awesome tone. I could not agree more.
Thanks, man.
It is. It's good. Just 2 seconds. This is not a master class, it's just folks hanging out, but there are many saxophone players in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you had mentioned, I've heard you in other interviews, you mentioned your study of legit, otherwise known as classical music. Can you just share with us that training and how it's affected your approach today? Because you do have fantastic tone. So what's the deal?
Well, thank you. That you're being very nice to me, and I'm not quite sure what to do with that, but but I did. Yes, I studied classically early on, and in college. First of all, because that's the music I was connecting with. The contemporary classical repertoire for saxophone, I thought was some of the coolest music I'd ever heard, and I was inspired by a great teacher. I say his name all the time. His name is Wayne Richards. And I actually then went on to study with a teacher that he studied with, Frederick Hemke at Northwestern, who incidentally, and I've talked about this with Andy Snitzer studied with Fred, and David Sanborn studied with Fred, they went on to, other kinds of music, and I guess so did I, but I kind of stuck it out a little bit longer, not too much. Ended up getting a degree in economics and not music, but go figure.
Smart move.
But it's the tone is everything. That was the mantra. When I was a young player, from my teacher, tone is everything. Nobody wants to listen to bad tone. And so he had a gorgeous sound, and honestly, making a saxophone with a classical setup sound big and rich and robust and gorgeous is hard. It's really hard. You have to really work at it, and you have to kind of have it in your head, and also the work ethic of, what you need to do in order to pull that literature off, because it is acrobatics. It's acrobatics on the saxophone. There's no other way to put it. So yeah, man, it was a great scaffolding, and I wouldn't change a thing, and as a matter of fact, when I teach saxophone, which is not, all the time, but I don't teach jazz at all. I teach classical. Like my students play the repertoire. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's all important. It is. Following up on that, we have a question. Steve, what kind of setup on your horn do you use? Sounds amazing.
Thank you, Mike. I am so flattered by that, because one never knows, what the day will bring, what the reed gods will decide your fate is on a given day. But from top to bottom, I'm playing, of course, the Fred Hemke premium reeds that I've been playing, since I was 19. And not the same reeds. That would be gross.
For 4 years, yes.
Yeah, right. I'm playing a SK David Mann Origin saxophone mouthpiece, and it is a 110. All
right.
I think if that's what it is. Yeah, so 110.
A new manufacturer, new brand.
Yeah, it's I was playing a Gardala for a long time, and Dave Mann was like, "Hey man, try this mouthpiece. It's got my name on it. It's probably good." And I did, and it's awesome. I'm playing a Trevor James signature custom raw tenor saxophone, and I am in love with it. This is my second one. I actually have 3 of them, and this is the one that I recently switched to this one. So, I think this was Chris Bullock's horn, and
from Snarky Puppy.
Yeah. I'm seriously, and it was funny because he was moving on to a different, maker. And so he was giving this horn back because, if you're sometimes when you get a horn as an endorsement and you're not going to endorse it, kind of the good and right thing to do is say, take the horn back, And so he was in New York, and Dave Mann, my buddy and writing partner and amazing saxophone player in his own right, lives in New York. And so Dave picked it up for me like on a street in Midtown and then shipped it to me. And I was like, hey man, this horn's probably got some good mojo in it. If Chris was playing it, and so I actually kind of fell in love with it. This particular mouthpiece and this horn kind of go together really well. So I was really psyched.
Very nice.
Is that a way longer answer than you wanted?
No. Well, we're off the air. We've been off the air for like
15 I know. It's like, dude, you've been talking to the air, man. I'm just being nice.
So here's the thing. We have a very occluded sense of conversation, we saxophone players. We think that everyone is interested in our reeds. Like I'll be going on an hour or two of talking about reeds and mouthpieces. My wife, I find out, is no longer listening to me. so it's like, I'm so into this. But here's the deal, folks. You want us to be into this because that's what produces like the ultimate best representation of what we hear in our heads. And we're trying to get that for you. And that's what it takes. It's all this research and all this trial.
Talk about it ad nauseum.
Right? Okay. So we've got someone who saw you with Peter White in New York City.
Yeah. 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 I used to play with Peter all the time. It was great.
I did not know this.
Yeah, man. When I was a young pup.
I mean, I know you're on his a couple of his recordings.
Yeah.
Right. Some hits on the radio. That's you playing.
Yeah, I played on, what is that one? Oh God.
It's a minor tune.
It's very minor. It's a major tune, but very minor.
Is it Bueno Funk?
Yes. Yes.
What do I get? I won. What do I get?
You get a prize. You get a reed.
Well, that's great. Well, let's see. Now I'm going to read through here quickly, and I'm going to try to. Let's see here. Everyone's going to know when and where to get the CDs. You said June 18th. You have a date?
I got a date, man. Come on, man. We work with live ammo here.
I'm the label, and I'm saying, yeah, it'll be out March-ish.
Well, see, that's why, because you're the label, so you can decide whenever it is. I get told. It's like, how's June 18th? I'm like, yeah, man, great.
Oh, this is very nice. Thank you, D.
Oh, man. This is such a kind thing, man. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you, D. It's funny, D. You think I'm crazy. As I mentioned, my wife definitely does. I'm like worried about reeds and mouthpieces and necks, saxophone, of course, microphone, kind of cable that goes to the preamp, the kind of preamp, all that stuff that Steve and I talk about ad nauseum. And we're in pursuit of something that sounds better for you, so it sound better for you. And as you kind people have requested for me to play older songs, I've actually listened to the older recordings. I'm happy to report there's progress.
Oh, good for you, man.
Sounding better, like now than before. Definitely a better sound now. So
that's great.
So eBay thanks you.
It's because you stopped playing around, man.
That's right.
It's like you were the king of like, I've got this new neck, I got this new mouthpiece, I got this new reed. Every day there was something new.
Yeah. Question for Steve. What was it like playing for Larry Carlton? Looking forward to the release of the new album in June.
So that's really, I played on one of Larry's records, and I also played with him live a couple of times. The first time I ever played with Larry, it was a surprise. And here's what a gentleman and what a cool, supportive, marvelous human Larry Carlton is. So it was many, many years ago. It was 1998 when my first record came out, and I got a gig opening for him at the Indiana Roof Ballroom in Indianapolis. And I played my set, and I'm in the dressing room hanging out, It's changeover time. So they're, changing out my gear, and they're moving Larry's band up on stage, and, audience is getting drunk, which is great. And so Larry comes into my dressing room, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to sit in with me?" And I'm like, "Is this happening? Is this real? Is this going on? Am I just, And he invited me up to play with him. and I was just the cool. It was, of course, frightening and scary, but you don't say no to that. You got to do that. So, to answer your question, it was amazing. It was amazing to be actually on stage listening to that guy right there, standing right in front of his amplifier. It was amazing. It was mind blowing, mind blowing, and the coolest guy ever in the world to kind of just come down and say, "Hey, youngster, you know what? Come on and hang and learn something." It was great, fabulous.
That's awesome.
Can't say enough about it. I'll never forget it.
There was a period when I was out with the Rippingtons where Larry Carlton and the Rippingtons were co-billed a series of concerts, and so that was a wonderful time to listen to the master, right? And it would always end with a big jam session, so all of us would be on stage together. And I remember leaning over to him right during the middle of this, grooving thing. I said, "Man, how do you do that?" And he smiled. He goes, "Oh, like this." And then he took a solo, like right, which I thought was for me, but I don't know. And it was just so Larry Carlton. So every note well placed. It's just a lovely thing. I would love it. That's cool that you got to play with him, though.
Yeah, it was great. It was so cool. Such a nice guy.
That's cool. I saw something here. Oh, okay. Betty saw you with Rick Braun. Oh, look at the see now. Rick Braun, Michael Manson,
Yeah,
Brian Culbertson.
Yeah.
In June. So you've been busy as a sideman, but I've only ever known you as a solo artist.
Yeah, I mean, way before that, I was I early on I played with an Atlantic recording artist named Bob Mamet, and then through that relationship met Brian Culbertson. This is in the 90s, right? And started working with him and then touring with him. And then, through that relationship, you get on the road, you're playing at different festivals, different venues, and you run into different artists. And, I was, sideman. I was playing like whatever, man, and Peter White asked me to play with him and Rick Braun. And then Brian and Rick did a bunch of shows together. So I was doing kind of double duty. And so, yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time kind of.
And something I know that hardly anyone knows about, it's because it was a ways back before the jazz thing. You were on the road, or maybe it was during the jazz thing, but you were on the road with Boz Scaggs.
Yeah.
The Boz Scaggs.
The Boz Scaggs. Yeah.
And that must have been a whole other level of performance.
It really was. And it was, it was a really interesting gig because I thought I'd been hired to play the saxophone. And how these things evolve. They're like, like, "Hey man, did you play any keyboards?" I'm like, "Well, a little, I passed my keyboard proficiency in undergrad, I guess, and and the next thing I knew, it was like, can you play, a string line on this tune, or could you play a pad on this tune? And then before I knew it, it was just like, keyboards on everything, not primary keyboards, but just filling in the blanks kind of things. And I was very, very unprepared for it. And I was very scared to do it. And I said yes anyway. I don't really have a memory of how well or poorly I did. I didn't get fired. That I know. I did not get fired. At least until the end of the tour. but I did do all the dates. And so I must have done at least okay.
Was there ever a time like you're back there playing your string parts, which I assume would probably be a little bit simpler than the main keyboard parts? Just
infinitely simpler.
Right. Okay, so
Darren Johnson was the keyboard player on. I mean, the band was Richard Patterson was playing bass, Darren Johnson was playing keyboards, Ada Dyer was a background vocalist, Marina Bambino was a percussionist and background vocalist, Sonny Emery was playing drums.
It's a list of musicians.
Oh yeah, it was. I was very, very. It was one of those things where, like, you never want to be the smartest person in the room. You never want to be the best musician in the room, and I certainly was neither of them in that band. And it was great because I learned every single day. But I can't say it was the best time I ever had. It was great. The memories are great, but I was like, it was so like focused. It was so intense, and you're playing music that everyone knows you can't
Yep.
really screw it up because I mean, what are you going to go? Bup, 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 bup? No, you can't do that. You got to play the right notes. So it was it was high level of intensity.
So what I'm hearing is, and what you're telling me is that the string part to Lido Shuffle.
Actually, I played the saxophone on Lido Shuffle
Okay.
through an octave effect. And my part was boodut, 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 boodut. So that's what I
Very
did.
hard. Okay, lovely, lovely.
Yeah. But then I played some horns and I went da da da. So that I did get to play some horn parts with my right hand.
All that classical training not gone to waste.
In a matter of speaking.
Yeah. Will the Sax Pack ever return with a new release? Well,
Jeff can't even make his own record as his own label. You think we're going to get around? Come on.
no, I've begun. I dovetail things. Like I'm working on a project, and I'm always going to add two more other projects onto it. And so, yes, in fact, as I finish up this CD, we have begun. Well, I'm saying we, Steve. I'm going to email you right now.
Oh, good. Good, man. Send me some groovy stuff.
When I email it to you, that is the official beginning of the next Sax Pack CD.
So awesome. Great.
Legally.
I'll know. Yes. I'll be waiting for that. Me and my attorney will be waiting for your email.
So let me check with you folks. You have a lot of good comments here. Any questions for Steve? And while you think of them, I want to switch to something here. What you don't know is during quarantine, Steve has become, well, I don't know if you've become, have worked on your excellent carpenter skills. Innovation. So I'm going to pop open he sent me a few pictures of his work.
You're not supposed to share them. They were like a joke. I was sending look what I'm doing with my reeds. I've turned them into molding.
Wait, hold on a second. Let's see. I can't remember which camera gets. Here we go. This is the camera behind me, and look up in the upper corner there, Steve.
Upper corner?
I mean, above the Buddha there.
Yeah.
I've got crown molding that I did years ago.
Oh, good for you, man. Did you cope it or did you miter it?
I mitered it because I don't know what coping means. I mitered with a miter saw, and it was really difficult, and I had a lot of failed attempts.
Yeah.
But now what you don't see as you follow from left to right, there's a bunch of seam errors. I tried to cover up with spackle.
Yeah, a little, know what they say, a little spackle, little paint makes you the carpenter you ain't.
So picture number one, Steve will now, I'm going to show some of Steve's work. Are we having fun, folks? I am. Here we go. This is Steve Cole's home. You're now inside Steve Cole's home.
Yes, that is my hallway. That is a hallway in my home. that no one was actually supposed to see.
I'm sorry to do this to you. Now, what are we looking at, and what did you create?
Well, what we're looking at is some picture frame wainscoting, and in that, my wife decided that she wanted that kind of in several places in our home. So I watched a YouTube video, and then bought a bunch of stuff that's yellow, bright yellow, and makes lots of noise.
You didn't have any pictures of your shop. You have an actual respectable wood shop downstairs with every kind of saw, every kind of tool.
I do. I've kind of, I put that together, because I really enjoy it. I've never had a hobby ever, music was both my job and my hobby. Yeah. And then when it started being my job, it ceased to be my hobby.
Right.
And I've never had a hobby, so that's a radiator cover that I built for my wife's little kind of, she has a little retreat room. Her little, she has got a room that kind of, she wants to look like a Parisian apartment kind of vibe. So I think she actually just wants a Parisian apartment. So
you're moving to France.
So yes, that is a radiator cover that I built.
That's unbelievable, man. That's like beautiful.
Well, I appreciate that. It's, it's not, if you looked at it really, really up close, you'd be like,
you're doing the routing. You're doing everything.
I'm doing yes. I used a trim router on that. And, With
All
my
right,
own,
all right. I love this, and this is more of the
just
wainscot.
more, yeah, more of the picture frame wainscoting, yeah.
This is the one that I was most impressed with. Is the bathroom because I'm a bathroom kind of guy.
Oh yeah, well that's yeah. We did board and batten in the bathroom. We tore out all the tile and put up some of that vibe.
Man, you've got mad skills, as the kids say.
Well,
Mad.
it's not, hey, listen, I'm cheaper than a pro. And
And our friends agree. Sweet, great work, nice work, nice work, Steve,
oh,
Chase,
thank you. Thank
and looks professional. Kathy says. Heavy emphasis on the word looks.
you. Looks exactly. The thing that's funny is like in that bathroom with the board and batten, it's like what's underneath that, is probably not exactly the proper way, because I built all those, I didn't build them on the wall. I built them and then installed them on the wall, and I had to make some, had to improvise a little bit. So, whoever owns my house after me, if they ever tear that off, whoever their professional contractor is they're gonna be like, what the hell was he thinking?
I don't think so. No, they're going to say that when we sell this home, when the inspector comes, he's like, oh,
Yes, but I did buy a bandsaw this week, because I couldn't, have a band, so I figured I'd have a bandsaw. But
wait,
yeah, I bought a band. Yeah, see, I did buy a bandsaw. That's I'm
and hold
pretty
up your
psyched
hand.
about that. I can resaw now.
Do you still have 10?
I do,
Please, God.
because I study for a very long time all of the safety procedures, that are unique to all of the different power tools, and there are many. So I don't even turn them on until I'm very, very well versed in all of the best practices.
I don't read that manual. I can manage. I don't really play the B off. No, I play the F very often.
Man, the BIS must be a real.
Oh, we're having fun now.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So Carol says, Steve, we just bought a new house. Did you really? Congratulations.
Yeah, sir. I'll bring my tools and my pickup, and just set up
Mhm.
shop in the front lawn.
I was afraid this would happen to you, that people would start hiring you for this and you wouldn't be playing saxophone.
Well, there's a lot more money in carpentry.
Yeah. I think, yeah. There's a lot more money in fill in the blank. Yes, that's right. It's no longer a hobby, man.
Oh yeah, see, no, I know when I proud Denny. Listen, buddy. No one in their right mind will pay me to come into their house, one, and two, to do anything with wood. So, I think my hobby is safe in my basement. But here's the thing, and I'm not going to lie to you, and this is funny. My wife is so much nicer to me now that I'm building things in the house. It's weird. It's like the saxophone she was not impressed with. Like, it was kind of like, you've always played the saxophone. I always knew you could play the saxophone. It's a whatever, But power tools and building things, she's like, it's like a whole other thing, man. So, bonus.
I'll be honest with you. I'm more attracted to you now that I can see your work.
Yeah, well, you never know. You never know what's going to float someone's boat, man.
But circling back to music, which I think you guys like, is this a music show? What is this? Ask, what is the best memory with Jeff, Steve, and Kim while on tour with the Sax Pack? Oh my goodness, I've got a box of memories. So many memories. But you're our guest. You don't have to edit yourself. We're past the 7:00 hour. So
okay, yeah, right. Well, here's the thing. Here's the best memory I have. I will not share because it may incriminate me. But the second best, you know what? Our Sax Pack adventures, our Sax Pack summits. When we kind of picked a city, we like threw a dart at the map of North America and decided that we were going to basically go on a vacation together.
It's true.
Which was, kind of the ruse was, we're going to write. We're going on a retreat. We're going to check into a fabulous hotel and, order room service pretty much all day and all night and write music. Austin, Texas probably was one of the funnest sax pack summits. So, and I just remember like so many different little, episodes in that uh, few days in Austin.
Our first when the Sax Pack was just started, we decided to go to Austin. We were in my hotel room. We all had suites. We splurged. If you don't know this about Steve, he does not like the best Western.
No, it's not the best.
No,
I mean, it's very fine. I mean, it should definitely be called, this is totally okay Western. But
there are good people at every hotel.
yeah,
But
totally, man.
but we decided to splurge and lay down the Visa credit card and get some nice hotels. So
we stayed at the Stephen Austin Intercontinental Hotel in Austin, Texas, and it was fabulous.
Each had a suite. I set up my keyboard and my computer, and we began to write.
And they were adjoining suites.
It was close to 3 a.m. when we finally got to actually writing music, and we were breaking out the saxophones 3 a.m. at a fancy hotel,
totally.
And we were playing to what we had written, which had later become the song Maceo, which is just a Maceo Parker groove, like a James Brown groove. Do boo doo boo doo doo.
Mm-hmm.
Do boo doo boo doo doo. And we're just jamming, and we get this knock at the door. We thought, oh man, it's 3 a.m. We didn't realize we're busted. It's over. And what happened, Steve? Tell them.
Our neighbors had just gotten in from being out, and they knocked on the door because they thought we might have something to drink. And so they're like, hey man, can we hang out with you guys?
And it became a party.
And that's how you knew you were in Austin, man. That's only in Austin, that was awesome.
Oh, too much fun. One fairly musical, serious question. We should probably end with this. And Caesar would like to know how would you decide which way to go while improvising? Approach notes or enclosures, or just utilizing chord tones? And this is a very interesting subject, particularly with Steve and myself as your panel. Go ahead, Steve.
What are those?
Exactly.
Honestly, I don't think of any of that stuff. I mean, and I'm not saying it because I'm above it. I just don't know what the hell you're talking about. Of course I do, but I just don't think about that. I have always approached improvisation from a melodic perspective. I never studied it, at least early on, improvisation from a theoretical approach. It was always, transcription, listening, being blown away by other people's approaches and how they navigate through, chord changes, learning those things, and then trying to create my own versions of those, but also just being really, driven by my own intuition and my own melodic sense. So, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you laugh, but here's the deal. This is what's, I think, interesting, is that I approach music from a completely different area than Steve does. I definitely approach it from more academic. I've studied jazz harmony, and for me, I got to sit down a lot of times with a pencil and paper and figure my map out, and then I'll know what to do. And beyond that, of course, I'll learn what to do, and then I internalize it, like a lot of steps here, and then I'll do more what you're suggesting here, Caesar, which is think about, okay, I'm on this chord now, and these notes will sound good. Where Steve, we're playing the same song now, will think about it completely with his ear and his heart, and I would think we arrive close to the same area. We can talk to each other musically, be complementary musically, and yet we're approaching it from different areas. And I think that's the beauty of music, is you come to it how you are, how you are.
Yeah, if there are chord changes that I don't like intuitively get, I mean, there's plenty of tunes where the changes are not in any way predictable, and what I'll do with that is, I won't go to the math, man. I won't go to the theory. I'll listen really, really deeply, and I'll use my voice a lot. I'll sing along and try to, understand it from, that perspective of melody. And then when I understand kind of what melodies kind of work through those chord changes, then my imagination opens up, and then I'll just kind of I'll know what I'm working with. But yeah,
Yeah, and I think that that approach lends itself to a heartfelt melodic approach performance every time. Uh, because the other kind, you can get lost in the weeds. You can become too academic about the whole thing.
clearly my doctorate is not in music.
I've always wanted to ask Steve, is there a Kirk Whalum influence in your solo?
Hell yeah. I listen to a ton of Kirk Whalum. I love Kirk Whalum. As a matter of fact, when I was making my very first record, I had gotten through to the end of one of the songs, like I was done recording it, right, and I listened back to it, and I was listening and just like, wow, that sounds good, but it sounds way too much like Kirk Whalum. I need to go back and re-record it and make it sound like me. But yeah, that definitely he is definitely in there, man. Absolutely.
Well, I've of course
In the stew,
I've definitely listened to Kirk Whalum a ton, and while I would say they're influences, you are your own man, your own sound, your own sound.
Well, thanks, man. That's the goal, right? But
Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
always, really. I mean, I'm cool with when people, are able to kind of, extract, those influences, and it also kind of keeps you honest. It's just like, it's like, are you hearing it from a perspective of, I hear who you listen to, or are you hearing it from a perspective of, there's already a Kirk, man. Get your own thing.
That's what Kirk would say. Do
For
you,
you, man.
do
Yeah. Great
you?
dude.
Isn't it funny? There's a sea of saxophone players out there, a sea of saxophone players
I
out there.
see.
And it's funny when you to find your own voice is when you, I think, let go of everything. Just let
Hmm.
go of everything, which is the most difficult thing in life, to let go mentally of every preconception, everything you should do, and stop shoulding on yourself.
Yeah.
You
But
know, and just
the
be.
thing that's really fascinating about what you're saying is that, in order to let go and be you, you have to be vulnerable. You have to have developed, because when we're relying on our, exemplars, right? Um, we're kind of maybe hiding behind them a little bit, you know, because we're not quite sure of ourselves yet, to be like, hey, this is me, and I hope you dig it. I know you like these guys, so I'm gonna like kind of hang in that kind of world for a minute. But there comes a point where you got to be vulnerable, and you got to trust the people listening are like on your side, and that if you show yourself to them, and you do let go, which takes courage, right? And it takes time, man. But you got to trust that people listening to you have your best interests. They want you to be you. They want you to succeed. And so you should be brave and take that leap.
Absolutely, absolutely. What I love about our journey together, we've had for let's see now, 2004 till now, 17 years,
Yeah, man.
coming on 18, real close. Is
Hmm.
that we are different people, different ways of approaching the art form, but we're going for the common goal. And so I take from you, and kind of incorporate it into how I'm approaching music all the time. And
Yeah, man. And likewise,
yeah,
I'm a huge damn fan.
well,
I'm a,
thank
I'm
you
a
so.
Jeff Kashiwa fan. I can't believe I get to be, 2,000 miles away on a Zoom call with Jeff. Holy crap.
It's fun. Well, folks, I'm looking at the clock on the wall, and we've come past Steve's bedtime. Do you have class tomorrow? Are you teaching tomorrow?
No, man, I'm not. I am not teaching tomorrow. I had a very rigorous front half of the week, and I'm now going to be working on other things.
Yeah, the things you like, more wainscoting, perhaps a little crown.
Well, I did build myself a tool kind of, holder, kind of wall mount type of vibe, because I was getting a little, I got new tools coming in, so I got to make room for them. So yeah.
Do you have a belt, a tool belt?
I do not. And my wife is really pissed at me because I'm always like, where's the tape measure? Where's the pencil? Can you grab me a pencil? And she's like, get a tool belt. I just, I'm not willing. I'm not ready to make the leap into a tire. Like if I start getting, like getting into the actual fashion, like a tool belt or like an apron or I think that I'm just crossing a line. I don't want to like start to front and.
I understand. I'm just making a real quick Christmas list, unrelated.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is the comment. Thank you so much, folks.
Oh man.
Great stories and insights. Absolutely. This man's very smart. Listen to what he has to say. Love your music. Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in and our special guest, Steve Cole, for just having some fun chatting. It's a different format than we usually do. Normally, I'm just playing. But enough of that.
No, go back to the old thing, man. Everyone wants to hear you play, dude.
Now, I have a friend of ours coming on next week, and you'll love him. His name is Eric Marienthal.
Oh, man. Awesome.
My absolute best student ever. No, Steve and I say that after every player whom we admire. No, it's gonna be fun. It's going to be more fun, folks. And I promise to play actually a little bit more music. Steve and I got a little carried away with the talking tonight. I understand, but could you please, with your virtual applause, thank Steve for coming on, and so he can get some sleep and enjoy the nice snowy weather in Minneapolis. Thank you, Steve.
Man.
I sure appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it was a blast, dude. Miss you, man.
I'll see you soon. Miss you too. All right, and with that, Steve Cole, Jim, you gave him an extra amount of claps. I feel like I should close out the show by playing something. Should I play something? I feel like you all have been so patient and kind listening to our conversation, listening to me and Steve catch up. I'd like to play something. May I play something? This is a song from the Peace of Mind CD. It's called Stride, and I've been digging, like I said, through videotape, and this one's got Melvin Davis on the bass, Alan Hines on guitar. Hold on. I gotta adjust my mics. Melvin Davis on the guitar, bass guitar. Alan Hines on the guitar. My horn is ice cold. My goodness. Give me a second while I warm it up. And let's see. Oh, Lenny Castro on percussion. And now the horn section is interesting. It's Ken Ross on trumpet and Nick Lane. And if you don't know Nick Lane, Nick Lane was the trombonist. Was the trombonist for Maynard Ferguson back in the day, back when Maynard did his famous arrangement of Birdland. I believe Nick arranged that song. So to work with Nick was a pleasure. And you know what the funny thing is? I've got video on the entire session, everything. Lenny and Melvin and Nick and Ken and everyone playing. It was so much fun. We did it over at Brian Bromberg's studio. And I don't know if it's still that particular studio is not Brian moved, so obviously the studio is not there. But anyway, I've got this great videotape of it. This is called Stride. And I'm going to be flat unless I warm this horn up. Okay. Without any further stalling and ado, here is Stride. Right. That was called Stride from the Peace of Mind CD. And I forgot, special guest on that particular tune, you probably heard it, on the B3 organ is Greg Matheson. Phenomenal player. And I found, along with the videotapes of the recording of the CD, there was a moment where Greg took the time to explain to me all the different levers and knobs of the B3 organ. So I'm definitely going to post that because it's really fascinating. It's like a master class on the B3 organ. He's like, okay, if you do this, and if you hold this note, it does this sound. If you do this note, it's a fifth above, and this one is an octave above. It's like it's not a synthesizer, but it's so complex like a synthesizer, the B3. It's a beautiful, beautiful instrument, and he clearly loves it and plays it so like masterfully. And so I remember going to his house and his studio and recording that. It was a lot of fun. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you had a good time, uh, allowing me to catch up with old friend Steve Cole, who's clearly a phenomenal musician, educator, person, all around great woodworker, and wonderful person. Uh, I thank you for tuning in once again. I will see you. Now, here's the change in schedule. Normally, we do every other week. And because of my school schedule and whatnot, we had to shift things around. So the next Zen Den episode 6 will be, as I mentioned, with the wonderful Eric Marienthal. I found some old funny pictures, which I'll definitely share with you. Eric Marienthal will be my guest next week, next Wednesday, week from today. So in the next show, 1 week from today, then we'll have a week off, and then we'll kind of resume the every other thing. And in March, getting close to the release of the CD, I'm going to start bringing in some guest artists who have been on the new CD, so we can talk to them and see what they've been up to. Okay, so that's all I have for you this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you 1 week from today. Okay, take care. Good night.